Hello friends and welcome back to my session. I am Dr. Priya Singh, Assistant Professor, Department of Tourism and Hospitality Management, Jamia Millia Islamia. Today in our session we will be talking about a very interesting form of tourism, that is ecotourism. In this session we would be learning about various definitions of ecotourism, how the history of ecotourism has evolved, what are the various characteristics of ecotourism, functions of ecotourism, the principles and guidelines of ecotourism, what are the effects of ecotourism, and also about various ecotourist organizations. So to begin with, let us first define and understand what is ecotourism. There have been different definitions of ecotourism. The first one states that ecotourism is traveling to a relatively undisturbed or uncontaminated natural area wherein we can appreciate the nature and the serene beauty of the nature, and also we can enjoy the scenery and the wild plants and animals. Also, the second definition of ecotourism, society defines ecotourism as the responsible travel to natural areas which conserves the environment and improves the well-being of the local people. Also, ecotourism is referred by Association of Australia as ecotourism is nature-based tourism that involves education and interpretation of the natural environment and is managed to be ecologically sustainable. According to Tickle, the ecotourism is traveling to enjoy the world's amazing diversity of natural life, flora and fauna, and also the human culture without causing any damage to either of them. Now we will talk about the history of ecotourism. The origin of the term ecotourism was never being clear until it was first used by Hetzer in 1965, who identified the 4 pillars or principles of responsible tourism under which the ecotourism fall, which was minimizing the environmental impacts, respecting the host cultures, maximizing the benefits of local people, and also maximizing the tourist satisfaction. Now we will talk about some of the characteristics of ecotourism. The first and the most important characteristics of ecotourism is that involves traveling to the natural destination. We cannot say that it is a practice of ecotourism until and unless the tourist is traveling to a natural destination, which is not man-made, rather it is natural. These destinations are often located in the remote areas where there are not much of crowd, and also there are certain kind of environmental protections at the national, international, communal or private travel levels. The second characteristics of ecotourism is about minimizing the tourist activities' impact on the nature. Tourism always causes damage, but ecotourism strives to minimize the adverse effects of the hotel, trails and other infrastructure by using some types of recycled or renewable materials. The third characteristics of ecotourism is about building environmental awareness. Until and unless one is not aware about the environment, one will never practice any sustainable means of traveling or the environmental conscious traveling. Ecotourism also means about educating the tourists and the residents of nearby communities about how we need to behave and how we need to perform our actions of tourist activities so that we do not cause any damage to the environment. The next characteristics is about providing the financial benefits and empowerment of the local people. Yes, ecotourism holds that the national park and the other conservation areas will survive if they are only very supporting and happy people around the vicinity. Also, the local community must be always involved in terms of receiving the income and also availing the tangible benefits of water, roads, health clinic, etc. Other characteristic of ecotourism is about respecting the local culture. Ecotourism is not only greener but also less culturally intrusive, and it is always about respecting the culture. Ecotourism also provides direct beneficial benefits which are in terms of finance. Ecotourism helps us to raise the funds also for the environmental protection, research and education through a variety of mechanisms, which includes park entrance fees, the tour company fee, hotel, airline, airport taxes, and also some types of voluntary contribution that one likes to contribute. Also, ecotourism always supports human rights and democratic movements. The United Nations sponsored World Tourist Organization proclaims that tourism contributes to international understanding of peace, prosperity and universal respect for observation of human rights and fundamental freedoms for all. So these were about the characteristics of ecotourism. Now further, we will discuss some of the important functions of ecotourism. Ecotourism, as we all know, is nature-based, environmentally educated and sustainably managed. The Rosenwald in 1999 outlined the 5 main fundamental functions of ecotourism, which are as follows. The number 1 function is about protection of natural areas. That means ecotourism is all about protecting the natural environment and the natural habitat wherein the one survives. It's about also educating about the environment, about the sustainability. Third important function is about generation of income or money. Through the various sources of ecotourism like national parks or other destinations of ecotourism, one can generate lot of income. Also, it is about the quality tourism. Ecotourism is one of the most preferred and one of the very quality based form of tourism, which is not only for money generation but also it contributes socially, culturally and environmentally towards the society. Also, the function of ecotourism comprises of the local participation. That means ecotourism is not possible without the participation of the local or the host community. We can see in this figure that ecotourism is all about the conservation, about the local participation and at the end also about the profit generation, which can make the situation financially very viable. Now we will discuss about some of the principles of ecotourism. Ecotourism is all about minimizing physical, social, behavioral and psychological impacts. It is about building the environmental and cultural awareness and respect among the tourists. It also provides the positive experiences for both visitors and tourists. The people who are undertaking the form of ecotourism will always be very happy and overwhelmed. Also, it provides the direct financial benefits for conservation. It's the money that is generated through the activity of ecotourism which helps in the final conservation process of the flora and fauna. It also generates financial benefit both local people and also for the private industry. The host community and the local people around the destinations are also directly benefited through the activities of ecotourism. It also delivers the memorable interpretative experiences to visitors that helps in raising the sensitivity to the host countries' political, environmental and social climates. Also, the ecotourism is about design, construct and operate in very low impact facilities. It does not require lot of money or lot of investments. There have been certain guidelines which helps the ecotourist or the travelers for particularly undertaking ecotourism. The travelers should always prepare their trip in advance that they are going to undertake some type of ecotourist trip. They should educate themselves about the destination. They should know about the rules of the destination. Suppose they are visiting some national park or any wildlife bird sanctuary also. So they should be aware what they need to carry, what they need to practice, what they are not supposed to do at the destination, what they are supposed to do at the destination. They should all be educating themselves about the destination. Also, they should, in well advance, they should prepare themselves about the sightseeing, about some special attractions if there are any at that destination. They should be well aware of those. They should also try to learn about the local history, customs, culture as well as the vital ecosystems of the eco-tourist destination. They should also try to learn the basics of local language. If you are not aware, and if you are going to an area which is very new and you are not aware about the vernaculars of that language, you might face difficulty because you might not understand what the guide or what the native or the host people are trying to communicate to you. So you should always learn the basics of the local language. Not necessarily you should have a very good command about the in the local language, but yes, you should be able to understand what the other people are trying to communicate. You should approach travel with the desire to learn rather than just observe. And traveling or tourist activity is just not about visiting a place. It is all about experiencing a destination. It is all about having few experiences that can be cherished for a lifetime, be it ecotourism or any form of tourism. So we should always travel with a purpose to learn rather than just observing or just having sightseeing. The other guidelines are we should always respect the local traditions and etiquettes. We should not hurt the sentiment of the native or the host people at the destination. We should be aware of the people's sensitivity to being photographed. You should always seek a permission to take a photograph of any local people. You cannot just hide yourself and take their photographs, which is not good and which is not advisable. You should always observe the local customs. You should always follow the traditions and the custom, rather embrace the local customs and appreciate to be involving in them. You should always remember that you are just a visitor and not a permanent or a native member of that particular destination. So we should always be with the responsibility of visiting that destination with a sense of sustainability and environmental consciousness, so that we do not and visit a destination with the intention of harming the destination. Also, there are different concepts of time, personal space and communication that should be taken care by a tourist who is visiting or planning his visit. You should also try to conserve the resources. You should not try to exploit any form of non-renewable resources, rather should try to use more of renewable resources, and also not with the intention to exploit them. You should practice environmental minimum impact, that any of your activity should not cause a major impact on the environment. Rather, you should always do something which will try to reduce the impact on the environment. You should choose a tour operator or a guide. This would always give you a better experience, because most of the destinations that a tourist visit are new to him. So he may definitely need an assistance of a tour operator or a guide to know that destination or to feel that destination in a better way. Also, you should always support local economies. Visiting a destination is just not enough. You should also contribute to the local economy. You should try to use local transport, buy some local handicraft, enjoy and relish the local food at the destination. Also try to bridge the cultural gaps. There are definitely going to be some cultural gaps, because one tourist travels to the other destination and the culture changes. So you should always try to respect other people's culture and rather try to bridge the gap by just getting involved in their cultural customs and traditions also. And also you should try to be a continuous person who is visiting for the purpose of ecotourism. Now we will talk about some of the effects of ecotourism. Ecotourism causes different effects. The first effect is the economic effect of ecotourism. The economic effect of ecotourism is about the physical impacts, which includes the taxes, fees and expenditures. The ecotourism not only generates any form of government revenue through business and other general taxes, but also through some industry specific channels such as paying for the occupancies and also the departure taxes. Also, it reduces the access to the resource. Tourism utilizes various resources as inputs of the product and services provides to the visitors. In this case, the preservation of natural areas often involves reduced local access to the resources such as wood or any other medicinal plants. Third characteristic about the effect of economic is inflation. Many destinations have experienced increased price for the goods, service, and also there has been lot of demand for a particular item, which makes the item inflated price. Effects of the income distribution. In some cases, tourism development existing have created some inequalities in terms of income at a particular destination. The revenue sharing at some ecotourism destinations, residents benefit from revenue sharing programs that provide them some type of cash payments or funding for community projects as well as for schools. The second effect of ecotourism can be categorized as an environmental effect of ecotourism, which includes the crushing or clearance of vegetation. At times, the ecotourist activity can also cause the crushing or clearance of vegetations, which can also lead to some type of soil modification. There can be instances of introduction of weeds and pathogens also. There can be also chances of water pollution from human waste, because lot of tourists would be coming at an ecotourist destination and they may be causing some type of water pollution also. There can be air pollution from the generator, exhaust, noise from the machinery, vehicles, and also from the voices. Disturbance to wildlife through all of the above can also result to various type of negative impacts towards environment. Now we will try to understand what do we know about an ecotourist. Ecotourist is not just a normal tourist who is traveling to any destination. Rather, he is the one who travel with a consciousness towards environment. A new group of tourism clients have been emerged which are called as ecotourists, and they are basically described as people who require environmentally compatible recreational opportunities where nature rather than humanity predominates. So, they will be always taking some type of activities which will not be harming the environment. Rather, they would enjoy also, but they would try to minimize their impacts towards the environment. So, in this instances, they may prefer the hotels like green hotels. They may say no to the use of plastic. They may always be trying to indulge in activity which may not cause any harm to the flora and fauna. They may also be loving to be in the lap of nature but not harming that. They are shrugging off the shacks of traditional tourism in search of knowledge and experience. So, their interest is not about staying in the very lavish hotel pools or hectic sightseeing schedules. Rather, they are interested in visiting a very raw type of a nature, visiting the wilderness, the national parks, the tropical forest, and also viewing the birds, mammals, trees, and wildflowers. And they may mostly prefer to stay in tents or in the environment of that nature or that particular jungle habitat rather than staying in any 5-star lavish property. They also want to experience some new lifestyles and meet people with similar interest who are always walking in groups together to witness and to appreciate wildlife. And they want to see their traveling dollars contributing towards the conservation and benefiting the local economy also. They would always love to spend their money towards the contribution of the local economy. Also, the ecotourist can generally be categorized as having higher average incomes, and they would always be a person who is more qualified, and they will be tend to have more female ecotourists than men. Usually, women are more considered as ecotourists. They prefer more to visit some ecotourist destination than men. Men are often involved in more of adventure tourist activities rather. According to the International Ecotourism Society, ecotourists are experienced travelers who are more likely to have a university degree or a higher income bracket. Also, ecotourists are expecting discovery and enlightenment from their ecotourism experience. That what I discussed, that these are the tourists who are just not visiting a destination for observing. Rather, they are visiting a destination for experiencing the destination and also gaining some insights for a lifetime. They are more focused in the personal growth in emotional, spiritual as well as intellectual terms. Also, they have more expectations of outcomes from an ecotourism traveler as compared to the other person taking a normal tourist activity. Now, we will talk about some of the ecotourism organizations. The most common ecotourism organizations can be categorized into 3 categories. One is member non-government organizations, second public sector or government agencies, and third is non-membership organizations, which is NGO and MBOs. But when we talk about the international organizations, the two main organizations that come in our mind is World Tourism Organization, that is WTO. It plays a very important role in the development of ecotourism, and the United Nations Development Programme, that is UNDP, which is another very famous international government organization that deals with ecotourism through its International Development Assistance Programme. With this, we come to the end of the session. I hope you enjoyed and gained some insights about ecotourism. Thank you.